Going to move the service right along because we got a lot of stuff to do today. You know, we got camps coming up. We got children's camp. We got kids camp. Parents that don't want to call you dumb, but if you don't take your kids to camp, you may be dumb. I don't know. I just want to be very smart, but no, you're not. But hey, it's better to build children than repair men. And, you know, we never ask our kids, you know, do you want to brush your teeth this morning? It's like, get in there and brush your teeth. And if it's good for them, send them there. We got an amazing camp plan, probably about 100 kids with a couple churches we have going on, probably about 100 kids, and it's going to be awesome. And you say, well, it's expensive. Yeah, but you wouldn't even think about that if it was football camp. You wouldn't even think about that if it was wrestling camp. You wouldn't even think about that if it's anything but church camp. And so it's like $250, and I know that Adam and different guys talk about it. Church camp is when God would call them to ministry. That's it. You don't want your kids in the ministry. That's why you're doing it. Just kidding. So get your kids to camp, and we have youth camps and all kinds of stuff, and then all kinds of stuff going on. Kids camp, youth camps, all kinds of things. Now, a couple things. You know, if you are here on the 3rd of July, we are going to have the most, see this word audacious? Everything's audacious this year. That's why we did bacon for Father's Day. Just wanted to do something audacious. 4th of July service, off the hook. I'm bringing in a girl. She's like 12 years old. She's got like 1 million hits off of YouTube and things like that. And she's doing this thing about America. It's a little presentation. It's not very long. Then we're going to talk about some different things. We're going to have Harleys, and we're going to have all kinds of stuff. Then we're setting up the big tent, and we're moving everything over this side of the building. We're setting up the big tent so you can get out of the sun because it's going to be warm on the 3rd of July in Jesus' name. And we're going to have, we got jumpy houses, and we got water slides, and we got all kinds of stuff. You don't want to miss that service. It's going to be off the charts. It's going to be amazing stuff. Let's see what else we got here. Ladies paint night. I ain't announcing that stuff. Paint night. Ladies paint night, please. That's on my announcements, please. Men's gun shooting night. Okay, we can go with that, but not ladies paint night. One of our guys texted me last night, and we got this little photo booth set up for the fathers today, and he says, it's kind of feminine. Can you bring some guns in so we can do it? I said, no, I don't think so with all the climate the way it is. We should probably do anything like that. But right, Jess? Yeah, anyway, I got to tell you. Squirt guns, maybe, something like that. Anyway, hey, this Wednesday night, now, we don't do this very often, but this is our second one we've done. We did one for Easter. This Wednesday night, we're having a worship night, and it lasts about an hour, hour and a half. And we're going to worship, and we're going to pray. And specifically, this is why I want as many people can get here to pray, is we're going to pray for kids going to camps and summer times and schools. And that's not going to be the only thing we're going to pray about, but we're going to focus in, laser beam focus on kids and different things this Wednesday night. So we're going to worship, pray for kids, not necessarily pray specifically individually for them, but we're going to believe God that this is going to be a breakthrough summer for our kids like never before. So come out Wednesday night. We're going to start worshiping, and it goes by quick. And we're going to pray, and we're going to worship. And we're going to pray in the Spirit. We're going to prophesy. Whatever. We're going to have a good old-fashioned believers meeting. It's going to be off the charts. All right. Hey, a couple things. We are going to do, and we didn't know how to do this, but I wanted to recognize all my guys that have graduated from Fight Club. Joe, would you turn the other microphone on, because I'm going to get Brett up here and give him this mic. So Brett Martin has been our guy, our Fight Club guy. Fight Club is simply a men's deal that Nehemiah 4:14 talks about fighting for your families, fighting for your brothers, and this is a group of guys that came together, and this is our second group, and it's a 12-week deal where it includes exercise, it includes different levels of prayer, it includes greeting people, what else, all kinds of stuff that it includes.
It's just building relationships,
relationships.
So you have support and strength from other men, Hey, by the way, happy Father's Day.
Yeah. And it's been amazing. We've had amazing, now listen to this is, I say this is elite guys because it really takes a challenge. Now this is not, if you look at the assignments that we give each week, you're going to say, well, that's pretty easy. A lot of guys say that's pretty easy. But
being a father and being a fighter for what's right may be easy for a week, but can you do it for 12 weeks? And we had 77 guys start.
Yeah, I think it was about 80.
80 guys start.
And now we're down to 30.
We graduated 30 guys so 50 guys dropped out. Not condemning the guys that dropped out, because we know schedules and different things like that. So we're not here to condemn anybody, because things happen in different things, and we're not here to condemn anybody. But we are here is to lift up the guys that decided, look, I'm going to do this thing and make it through this thing, and it's been amazing. So where's the certificates at? Heather, you got certificates? We're going to call our squad leaders up here.
So if we get Jesse Spino, hopefully you're here, Joel Johnson, Io, myself. Kevin Kennedy, you're not here, right? You're in Kelso.
Kevin's in Kelso.
Okay.
So we've got, where are we at here? Oh, I see what you're doing here. Never mind. I see it. I get it. Okay. So you guys come on up here and stand behind us. And then we got, anyway, and how many of guys have already graduated that are out there? You've already graduated one time. So we want to acknowledge you guys too. But here's the thing that I noticed with this group is the first-time guys, we had like 18 first-time guys that did it. And the second-time guys, they dropped like flies. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just that this was hard. When you've already completed something, then to do it again was very tough. And so I want to acknowledge all those guys. So what we want to do is we're going to give out our, this is what you get. You get these cool bracelets. It says Fight Club on it. And then for the guys that are, we got new certificates for the guys that are new. And then the guys that have already been through it and did the second time, Lou is going to stamp a star, right, Lou? He's got a little star that we're going to stamp on there. So if you've already been through it, take it to Lou, and he'll stamp your star on there. So
after service today.
After service today. Yeah, not during the service. I don't want Lou over there working while we're doing this thing. So, okay, so let's make this happen, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to pass these out to you guys, and then you guys will give out one of these. Here, guys, give out.
We just wanted to recognize the first-time graduates.
Yeah.
First, we'll have you come up, and then we have the second-timers.
You guys get one of those too, obviously. So I'll come grab a few of these too. So, all right, grab a few of these. Of course, we got an ammo can here. Isn't that appropriate for Fight Club stuff? So, all right. So you guys, we're trying to do this. We don't normally do this during the service, but we wanted to recognize you guys for these guys have said they're going to change their life. They're going to fight for their families their whole life. Not that you have to go through Fight Club to do this, obviously, but you're going to fight for your family. You're going to fight for what's right. You're going to stand up against injustice in our society, and you're going to be a man that's not going to just do this for 12 weeks, but you're starting a whole new life. And I'm very proud of these guys. So, come on, as you guys pop out of your chair as soon as you hear your name. So,
Jacob Palin. If you hand them out to him.
Judd McFetters. Good. Come on up. If we say your name wrong, sorry. And then
Andy Bronkhorst.
And I think Eric Griswold's not here today. He's working. Eric, did you come up here? All right. JT, I think he's working again. JT, are you here this morning? He's working this morning. Michael Basson's out of town. Jeff Harder?
Jeff Harder.
Hey, Jeff. Come on, Jeff. Where's my friend Mark Mosler? Come on, Mark. Tim Durr is out of town. And Joel. Here's Ryan Greenwood's gone on Father's Day stuff. Joe Hudson. There's your son. Thank you. Did we get you one? Tim, how do you say that? Runcie? Runcie. There you go. Tim Runcie. Where's Tim? Not here today, okay. Anthony Gray. There's Anthony Gray. There you go. Anthony Gray. And Philip Pressgrove is in the hospital. Talk about our second-time guys. All
right. We want to recognize them, too, here. So, Rosario.
Yeah. He didn't make it.
He's on the camera.
Okay, Rosario on the camera. There you go. Rosario, jump down off that camera. We can deal with this one camera. Jump down off that camera and come up here, man. We want to see you.
Jesse Spino.
Jesse.
James Carter.
James. Come on, James.
Wes Miller.
Wes, my man. Wes is one of these guys. He's out here in the parking lot one day a week or so guarding the church from this arsonist guy. He's out here. These are the Fight Club guys that are watching over the church and staying all night long watching the church so we don't get some stupid idiot. So anyway, appreciate that. Fight Club guys, stand up to stupid idiots.
Got Io, second time.
Io.
Trent Stanley.
Trent, my man. Where's Trent? There he is.
Darren Aries.
Darren.
Come on, Darren.
There's...
Got myself, Brent Martin.
Yeah, Brent. There you go.
Glenn Johnson.
Yeah. And it was tough this time, man.
It was
you know,
it was a challenge.
I have to confess this. You know, the second time, guys, we had to read a different book, and I've already read the book. It's the resolution. And so I thought, well, I'll just pass. I just thought I've already read the book, so it's not a big deal. And then my conscience started bothering me. So I had to get away for 3 days, and I had like 15 or 20 hours of reading to do. And I finished the book. Even though I've already read it, I said, no, I can't sit there and graduate saying I read the book when I didn't read the book. So can you guys relate to any of that? Yeah.
Roger Alexander.
Roger, yeah. Love Roger.
We got Jerry Dalkey, who's, I think, believe in Texas.
Yeah, he's in Texas preaching, man. Good stuff.
And Dennis Phelps.
Dennis Phelps, my man. Dennis will take off and walk to the Fight Club house, 6 miles to the Fight Club house. Different things, man. That's amazing. I'm proud of these guys. So
this was everybody this round. If we missed somebody for some reason, let us know. But we do want to recognize, I think, there is one person up here that I think we talk about Nehemiah 4:14.
Over above.
Over and above. And if I'm going into battle, this is the guy I want to take with me. You know, so
he's
Jesse,
a squad leader. And he kept his whole squad together. Every Sunday you see these guys praying together, and Jesse just went over the top. Jesse Spino, we get over the top. And so Brett and I wanted to give him a little man tool here, a little Leatherman man tool here. So love you, brother. Love you, dude. Love you, man.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
I mean, these guys live this. Come here, bro. Come here. You're right here. Come on, man. This guy took off on this thing, and how many pounds did you lose? He lost 18 pounds over this 12 weeks and quit chewing Copenhagen and standing up, making his family dinner once a week and different things. And this man is a fine man of God. I'm proud of you, dude. Proud of you, dude. Proud of you, man. Proud of all you guys, man. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Did y'all get these? All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. You guys are a blessing to God's people and a problem to the devil. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Rosario. Get back on the camera, bro. Thanks, man. Thanks, man. Thanks, guys. You guys are a blessing. Hey, did you get all of your where's Brett? Bail me out here, Brett. Brett, bail me out here. Brent, bail me out here, man. Brent, bail me out here, man. So all of you Fight Club guys, I'm so proud of you guys, man. And we're going to start another Fight Club we'll start another one probably in September, October. And so if you're wanting to be kind of the Navy SEAL of Faith Center Church, then be involved in that. But if you just want to be an enlisted guy, you're fine with that too. You know, no, I'm just kidding. But it's a great program that just really focuses in on really what we should be doing really every day. Did you get in our drawing this morning, fathers? Did you get in our drawing? I'm doing the announcements this morning. I don't usually do the announcements, but did you get in our drawing? If you didn't get in our drawing, raise your hand up, and the ushers have a little thing they're going to give you, and you can put your name out. We got a couple things we're going to draw for Father's Day. So put your name on there real quick, and then hand it right back to that usher like 2 seconds. Don't write in tongues. Write legibly. Don't write in tongues. And then we got a couple of gift certificates here. What do we have here? Oh my gosh! Look at this. Look at this. We got bacon. Whoa! We got bacon, man. We got bacon. Bacon is the heaven's milk, I think, or heaven's food, or something like that. So, what do we got? We got Leatherman tools. We got Home Depot. We got Cabela's. But you got to be a father. Now, please, can I say this? If you're a mom that raised a boy, don't put your name in here. That happened to us one year. So, this is actually for male anatomy has to be part of this thing. And then one of my buddies texted me this morning, and he texted me and said, "You're a great father." He's a pastor. He says, "Great pastor. And Father's Day is proof that men cannot leave women alone." I guess that's true. Did we get everybody? All right, here we go. Thanks, ushers. You guys are doing good. Can you believe we're getting all this done in this short amount of time? This is great. You like my basket? I'm a little teapot show. No, I don't know, whatever. Well, we had a man basket, but it was here last night, and we can't find it. So it's where's my ammo can? Give me my ammo can up here. I can't draw out of this basket. Or yeah, where's my ammo can? Really? You gonna make me draw out of this? Okay. All right, let's do this real quick. There we go. Yeah, here, dump these in there. We just got to make it kind of official type stuff here, you know, and we got to just kind of wad them up and throw them in there. Red, help me pick these out here. So, okay, so we got everything. All right, get this thing out of here. All right, so we got first one we're going to give out is Home Depot card. So pick one of those out there. Home Depot for $25 and a pound of bacon to go with it. What we got? Byron Waltersdorf. Yeah, and you guys been in Europe and all kinds of stuff. Welcome back. Good to have you guys back. Yeah, this is the bacon's frozen? Yeah, it'll last till afterwards. Here's a $25 Cabela's. Who we got that one on? Ted Bogner. Bogner? Is that right? Yeah, there you go, Ted. Cabela's, man. Are you a Cabela's guy? Oh, there you go. All right, there you go, man. And last but not least, we get all these Leatherman things because this guy's a big shot at Leatherman, so I'm pretty happy about that. This would have been appropriate. So, all right. Last but not least, the Leatherman goes to Trent Stanley. All right, Trent. All right, there you go. All right, guys, here, watch this video. Watch this video.
If you don't get off that Xbox, I will make sure you never play it again.
Listen, if you don't settle down and go to bed, you can sleep outside tonight.
Little girls who aren't grateful don't get any presents at Christmas.
Any of these clothes that are still on the floor in 10 minutes are going to be given to someone who really needs them.
You come home late one more time, you won't have a car.
Stop fighting or I'm turning this car around right now.
It's great.
Great video. I just want to say a few things about my dad, first of all, and then I'll talk about the dads in the church, but I'm very thankful that my dad is my dad. Obviously, I don't think I could think of a better person or a better man of God than the person that's sitting right next to me. And he's been a huge example to me, and I love him very much, and I'm very excited to be here and get to share this moment with him. And so happy Father's Day to you.
Well, thanks, buddy. Love you, man. Love you, dude.
Thank you. But a long time ago, and kind of stuff that my dad has reiterated to me when I was growing up, is he said the number one thing you can do as a human being is raise a family, love your wife, and just be a good man of God. And I think that's the best advice you could pretty much give anybody. And I think we lose that sometimes in society. But when I see, Mike Dillman and all these other fathers and stuff, I can name tons of people's names. But I'm just so blessed that these people have put their time in. They raise their kids. They're involved in church. And they've helped raise my life. Mark Haggard used to teach me in Sunday school. I remember all the crazy lessons and all the different stuff, but it's because they're involved and they're putting into their kids' lives and into our lives. And I'm just very blessed with the culture of fatherhood and the great men of this church. So if we can just give everybody a hand for the fathers here.
Yeah. Talk about night karate with Mark and.
All right. There used to be a game called night karate that we used to do with the Haggard boys, and Jared and Jordan and Mark and Simone would go into the bedroom and she'd read a book, and we'd turn off all the lights inside of the apartment building, and then it was pretty much anybody that you touched, you were just swinging or kicking at them. So it's like pretty much dark. And I remember when the game ended is when me and Jared got a little bit bigger. I think we were like maybe 12, 13 or something. And Jared hit Mark so hard. And all I could hear is, Jared! Like, and then the game, night karate, ended for that. But.
Where's Mark Haggard? Is Mark?
Right here.
Probably teaching Sunday school class or something, you know.
I remember when our wrestling extravaganzas ended. When I was a freshman in high school, I started wrestling. This is kind of embarrassing for him, but this is payback for a long time. So basically, some of you might know wrestling.
You're about ready to hear a lie here, probably. So
yeah, okay. So anyway, like when you're shooting for a single or double leg, you kind of pull someone's head down, and then you get them to pop up, so then you can shoot in for a single or double leg. Well, when I pulled my dad's head down, he didn't pop up. He went straight down to the ground and hit his chin on the ground, and he said, "We're not wrestling anymore." I was like, all right. And that's when things change. But yeah.
I think I cried like a baby, too, if I remember right. You didn't want to tell that part, did you?
No, but yeah, and we just have a few points that we're going to bring up today, but we want to talk about perfect kids and perfect parents. We obviously know there's no such thing as perfect kids and perfect parents, and the Bible actually gives us a lot of examples of that, and which I think is the best thing about the Bible is that God uses imperfect people to change the world.
Good.
And in Genesis 18, 19, God's basically, he's setting up Abraham to become the father of many nations. And Abraham tried to give his wife away twice. He was a liar. He was a cheat, and God used him to create the,
Jewish state.
The Jewish nation.
And really us. We're under the Abrahamic covenant, really.
And so it's 18:19, I'll just read it real quick, or 18:18. It says, "Since Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him." And it's kind of a question, should be blessing him, sorry. "For I have known him," and this is his reasoning, he's like, "For I have known him, and that he may command his children and his household after him, and that they can keep the way of the Lord to do righteousness and justice, and that the Lord may bring Abraham and what he has spoken to him." And that's all that God is looking for as fathers, and I'll become a father in September. But God is, thank you.
I think that for me, Joel was the kind of kid that, we only had one kid. We tried for more, but just had one kid. But he was the kind of kid that would come in and he'd look you in the eye, and he was so respectful, and he'd shake your hand firm, and then he'd go out and sin. And it was always weird to me because it's like, you'd say, well, he's such a good boy. And I'm thinking, yeah, but you just don't see the stubborn side of him. I remember shooting some hoops with him, like we're talking like second grade, and I was trying to teach him how to shoot in hoops. And I played high school basketball, pretty high level, different battleground, different things. And he was a decent ball player. And oh no, he knew it all at like 7 years old or 8 years old. He knew more than I ever knew about basketball. And I just went, oh boy, this kid is a stubborn kid. So kind of that passive rebellion kid. But the other side of that is, for me, the imperfections in me is I think I had a lot of judgmental religious stuff that I never in my life, and I'll say this with all honesty, in my life, I never made a decision that regarded my son that wasn't at the time thought it was for his best interest. And my heart was always right, but my head was pretty stupid. And I think a lot of us parents could probably relate to that. And I was probably I was very, very imperfect parent. But my heart was always for my son to do the right thing. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Let's don't go into all the list. But anyway, so.
Yeah. But I think it's such a good example is that even in your heart you're trying to do what's right, but God can use anybody, and it's never too late to implement those godly examples. And just like Abraham, I mean, he was imperfect, his sons were imperfect, but God used them to change the whole world. And I think that's
very good.
Second set of things we're going to talk about is small choices. I believe that small choices not only make you a great human being, and with the I choose lesson, but they also make you a good father, a good parent. We kind of talked about small moments in your life is what's going to make the big differences. And I think about my wife is pregnant, and at night she'll have me like rub her back, and sometimes I'm just like really tired and I don't want to rub her back, and I just like, I'm done. And sometimes I don't do it, to be honest with you. And I feel bad because whatever. But most of the times I do it. Yes, I do. Okay. Most of the times I do it, but I know
haven't had a back rub in 28 years. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
But those seemingly insignificant moments, I know that there's going to be one day that I prayed that I would have had more time to rub my wife's back, and those moments as you watch your kids grow up, or putting those time. There's a lot of times where you come home tired from work, or okay, my work shift was over, so now my day has ended. Well, right when you walk through that door, your day is just beginning again. And making those small choices in your heart, and asking the Holy Spirit, say, hey, I need strength right now, because when I get through the door, these people are depending on me too. And my dad and my parents both are very good at that, leaving the church behind and investing in my life, coming to baseball games. Pretty much everything I did, they were supportive and invested in it. But that doesn't, it could have had an emotionally draining day at the church, or we had people that have been with our, that left or whatever, and all this different heartbreaks that they go through. But they're still there in the front row cheering me on. They're making that conscious decision for that day and all the time, to make those choices to make a difference in my life. And that's, those small choices every day is what is.
I think for me, when raising my son, and he's 30 now, so he's a man now. But I think for me is and what I try to do as a father is I try to look at my dad and say, okay, what would my dad do here? And then just do the opposite. Because my dad was alive most of Joel's baseball career, and never watched him ever play a baseball game. His grandson never watched him play a baseball game. Conversely, my mom and stepdad and and Teresa's dad watched hundreds of baseball games because they're out there. And if you don't think that doesn't matter, being at games, and because kids won't remember necessarily that you were there, but they'll remember if you weren't there. And I understand when you have multiple kids and different things, and even kids understand, well, I got to go to this one, and I can't make that one because I got to go to that one, and da-da-da-da-da, and they understand all that stuff. But I think parents need to really make an effort towards the small things. Because, Tommy Barnett said this one time, and it was a great thing. He said, if you'll have time for your kids when they're young, they'll have time for you when you're old. And I think that's just such a great statement. And sometimes I was wondering, though, with you sometimes, to be honest with you. So,
yeah, another thing I want to say about that is that making the choices, basically the family was there, and then the church, and Jesus loved the church, and Jesus is our prime example of how a father is supposed to act in his family. But Jesus was the head servant of his household. A lot of people, or some people I know, it's like, well, now they're going to listen to everything that I have to say because I'm the man, and this. And that's not how it works. We are the head, and I'm going to, I want to do my best to be the head servant of my household and lead by example, because if you're, helping out with the laundry or doing all that, no, I won't say it, but but if you're doing that kind of stuff, you're leading by example. You're the head servant, and that's what God has called the men to be, is the head servant, and taking on that apron, so to speak, putting it on and becoming really the head servant. So
that's really good. And I think, Theresa does a lot more around the house, obviously, than I do, but I try to, every Thanksgiving, I'm the first one to grab the dishes and do the dishes, and I do the dishes at least 50-60% of the time now, and I think that's just part of the thing is kind of dad issues kind of like have this thing where a lot of times the dad makes more money, so somehow that when my dad was with my mom and then stepmom, he felt like because he made more money that he was entitled to do nothing at the house. So they both go to work for 8 hours, but I make more money, so I'm entitled to come home and drink beer, and you got to do everything else. And that's just stupid. I think that's just stupid. I like your head servant of the household. I think that's a great example. Malachi chapter 4 and verse 6 says, "He'll turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the hearts of the children to the fathers, lest I come and strike the earth with a curse." I believe that we're seeing the earth under a curse today because of dad issues. And he says here, he says, "I'll turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the hearts of the children towards the fathers." Well, I think it's incumbent upon us, if we don't have a relationship with our kids, then it's incumbent upon us. The first off is the hearts of the fathers towards the children. That has to be the first step, and then the hearts of the children can turn back to the fathers. And really, it should be the father issue. Now, if you don't have a father that's even wants that or desires that, that just blows my mind that would happen. Because when Joel was born, it was like, I just immediately fell in love with, like, I'll die. I'd die whatever for this kid immediately. And I don't get that selfishness. I don't understand that level of selfishness where parents don't want to spend time with their kids. I don't get that. I think that's just something wrong. We need to deal with that issue, I think. So, got anything on that, bud?
Yeah. I guess sometimes with our relationship, there was his heart was towards me, and my heart wasn't always towards him. And there was a frustration, especially in my teens and 20s. And but I was telling
most
him,
of your 20s.
Yeah, so
most of your teens.
Yeah, most of those. But now because of the way that they raised me and because of his example, I'm turning back and becoming back to his heart. And I know that kind of talked about frustration between us. There's a lot of times where I was really frustrated, and we're both very hard-headed. And when we would do stuff in the garage, which wasn't much, but like cleaning the garage, I'm going to say, we were both so stubborn that when he would tell me to do something, it's like immediately I was like, well, I'm not doing that now just because you just told me to do that. And and I would get angry for just stupid things, and obviously I was dumb, and I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, man, I don't even think I should have been able to open my mouth till I turned 30, because I was just a moron. But you're going to go through that frustration, so don't be discouraged as a father, or you see your kids kind of get that frustration. If you put your time in the beginning, they'll come back around. And it's a promise from the Bible, but there's going to be that frustration, and I know that when I was doing my own thing, I knew what was right and what was wrong, and I didn't need him to tell me, hey, you're doing wrong. I knew it. So there's no reason to remind your kids all the time, beat them over the head.
And I did. Yeah.
And beating you over the head with, oh, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. Like, I knew it, and I didn't need to be reminded of it. You have to encourage your kids just encourage them to come back. Encourage, it's not begging them or whatever. Just encourage them in their life, wherever they're at.
I remember a few times and people would come to me, and this is where I had to really, because I would get consumed with his doing wrong. And I would sit there, and I would sit in my office, and my brain would just tell me, your son's out doing stupid stuff right now. And I would just say, and I just used to let it consume me. And I'd call him, check on him, hey, man, just thinking about you. No, I was just trying to ease my mind, And it used to frustrate me. And finally, I just said, Lord, I got to turn this over to you. I got to trust you. And so I just totally and 100% just said, God. And so people would come to me and say, Joel did this. And I said, that's none of my business. They said, well, he's your son. I said, that's none of my business. And I don't appreciate you telling me that, because that's none of my business, because he will fulfill the plans and the purposes and the destiny that God has for him. And Theresa and I would walk, we walk and pray, and we just say, thank you, Joel. And we say it, whether he's doing bad, doing good, it don't matter. We say it every Tuesday, and Sarah and different people. And we just say, thank God they're going to fulfill the plans, the purposes of God for their life. And we didn't say it in the good times and the bad times. We said it in the bad times, the good times. We're just speaking. And so you got a 25-year-old son and our kid, and they're doing crazy stuff. It's none of your business. Just pray and believe God, and don't let the devil sit there and tell you what a failure you are as a parent. Because if you feel like you're a failure as a parent, God's first son went astray and sold out the whole world. I mean, think about that. Adam was his son, and he sold out the whole world. And so Joel hadn't sold out the whole world yet, so we're probably going to go good.
It's close a couple times. But yeah, and it's not like he was worrying for no reason. There was reason to worry, but I believe that my parents' prayers on Tuesday mornings is what has, brought me back around, and just, I think that is a huge thing. I'm already praying for my daughter, and I pray for wisdom for her and all this different stuff, but your prayers make a huge difference in your kid's life, because there is a real spiritual world, and when you're praying over that breaks it down. That gives God's authority. We can go into the curse and everything, but when we give God a license to work in our families and work in our kids' lives, then we give God that license here on earth to use that. And I think that hedge of protection that they prayed over me, and praying for wisdom for me is what is kept me around.
And I think for me is I want to hear the funny stories about what happened to him in his 20s, but I don't want to hear them for 10 more years.
For a long time, he won't be here.
I just don't want to hear them, because, like I said, this kid is the most respectful, loving, wonderful sinner you've ever met in your life. So. And you feel like a failure. I'm a pastor of a church. I'm a pastor of a great church, 1,000 people in our church with all of our services. And I got a son that's out there acting like the devil. And you didn't raise him right. You didn't raise him right. Well, judge me 15 or 20 years. Don't judge me later. Don't judge me now. Judge me later of what we'll do. So that's why
I think there's a stronger pull sometimes with when we're talking about the third generation. He's the first generation. I'll be the second, and then kids are going to be a third. Then the devil's going to work extra hard to try to break that generation.
Good. It's good. Let's talk about work ethic.
Work ethic. Yeah.
Talk about work ethic a little bit.
I remember hours and hours spending in our garage hitting little golf balls out of a pitching machine.
Little plastic golf balls.
And he would. At the time, I didn't, it wasn't like I really wanted to be out there for an hour hitting golf balls in the garage, but
we were out there for 10 minutes.
Yeah, it seemed like an eternity for me. But both of my parents worked really hard, and I got to see their work ethic transferred over to me. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing, especially people that I work with in the construction industry and stuff like that. You watch a guy, it takes him 20 minutes to roll up an extension cord. It's like, that guy's no work ethic. He's just collecting a paycheck. And And my parents have always taught me, it's, you know, you can call it grit, you can call it whatever you want, but that is what's going to bring you. I think having perseverance is in some cases more valuable than being smart, I guess. Just having that perseverance, not wanting to give up. You know, that's really what the number one thing I think you can teach your kids, other than teaching them godly examples and stuff, but having perseverance and not giving up when things get hard. And that'll bring them so far in life, and it's brought me a long way.
Yeah, and you know, and I'll say for Joel that every job he's on that he ever does, they always request him because of his work ethic and stuff. So apparently something got through. I don't know, but so, and I think, you know, that goes down to parents need to be an example. I think, you know, are you always studying? I mean, you want your kids to continue educating themselves, you know. Well, you get that way by parents listen. Have you listened to this? Have you read this? And now I've heard that Joel's. How many sermons do you have banked?
Probably about like 50.
So he's been working on. He's never preached before, and he's got 50 sermons already banked that he's.
Ideas and stuff, yeah. So
ideas and stuff that he's been working on.
Even when I didn't even want to be
which I had to hear from. What's that?
I said even when I didn't even, well, squeaking my voice, but even when I didn't want to, didn't think I wanted to speak or anything, I would just write down. I would hear something, there's a good idea, and I'd put it into my phone, be like, oh, that'd be a great message, and not thinking like, oh, well, maybe I'll be.
While
a
you're
pastor.
tipping a couple beers back.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think it was more than one or two or three, but anyway.
I was gonna say it's more than a couple. But.
Yeah, I know. So. You really frustrated Mom and I, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really did.
Frustrated me too. So.
Yeah, I know. One of the things that I think is important too, though, is one of the things I try to do with Joel, and I think I think I missed it. Casey Treat and I have had this discussion a lot. Is one of the things that pastors make a mistake on is, especially when their sons are coming up, is they want to groom their sons to take over for them and become exactly like them. And once they become exactly like them, then they're ready to go out in ministry, and they go out in ministry and totally fail because they're not themselves. You have to find your kids what they're like. They're going to be different than you, and you have to find and celebrate their differences. Now, there's certain morality and there's certain principles that you can go by, but Joel's a totally different person than me. You know, I can't do anything for more than 12 minutes at a time. I had a big meeting in my office up there. On Friday I had a meeting with some people and meeting up there, and we had lunch, and somebody sat down behind my desk. I said, I'm sorry, there's probably a bunch of junk back there because I never come in here because it drives me nuts to be inside. Joel can go out and fish for 8 hours, and him and Josiah can go out and fish and cast, and Josiah Adams and then David Adams and I, we can't do anything for more than 8 minutes in a row because we're so hyper, you know. And so we're totally different people. He's way more patient. And I'll say this about Joel, and I say this, that I'm a tough guy. But I'm not sure I'm the most friendly guy. You know, if you hang around me, I'll probably offend you. And Joel is a 10 times better human being than I ever thought of being. He's 10 times better human being than I ever thought of being. So I don't know if I'm a nice guy, but I get the job done. And Joel's a nice kid, and very, very nice kid. And when you add morality to his respectability, you got a really decent human being there, which is kind of neat, you know. So, which was missing for a while. So anyway, anything else on that?
Yeah, just setting priorities in your children's lives, and not setting them for them, but teaching them. Proverbs 34:11 says, "Come, you children, listen to me. I will teach you the fear of the Lord." And Proverbs 9:10, it's the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So before anything else, you got to teach your kids to fear God and live a godly lifestyle, because everything stems from there. And that's, my parents have, I've been in church most of Sundays when I've been around. When we were kids, church was a priority, and I knew that Sunday mornings we're going to church, and that has to be your number one priority, and not just to clock in and say, oh yeah, we went to church today, but your kids get to see that you going something every Sunday and improving your lives, and just for you to take the time to get your kids together and get them to church, it's going to bring them a long way, just seeing that example.
Good. Setting priorities then, huh?
Yeah.
What about friends? Setting priorities in friends. How do you feel like we did or didn't do that very well?
Yeah, my parents are very good about knowing my friends' parents, and kind of, they knew the people that I was hanging around. Not all the time, because I lied to them, but but for the most part, they knew, my friends at the church, and they knew that they were going to be, weren't going to be off going and doing crazy stuff. But it's important for you to know who your kids' friends are, especially this day and age. And kids are so impersonable that just making sure that you can go out of your way to know your kids' friends, please, because they can get.
I remember a time that we and again, we probably picked wrong, but Joel came back and got in trouble in school or something like that, and he was hanging around this one guy, and I'm sure you hung around with him in rebellion to us, but we told Joel that when he came home, we said, "Oh, who are you with?" And we noticed that he was getting in trouble with this one kid, and so we said to him, "You're probably a freshman or something like that," and we said, "This kid is no longer your friend." I said, "He's no longer your friend." He said, "You will hang around. You can hang around these people, but this kid will no longer be your friend." How long? Tell me what behind. Did you separate from that kid at that time? You remember that story? You don't remember that story? Kid that had the boat. You went out on his boat a few times and stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We didn't really. Yeah, we didn't hang out. Hardly at all, I guess. I mean, I was pretty true about that, but yeah, he turned out to be kind of a bonehead, but for lack of a better term. But yeah, I hung out with other people. Yes,
yeah.
I did do pretty good on that one.
Well, you did good.
Just remember.
It's like, oh yeah, well, so bad that it was bad. So, okay, let's wrap this up. What else? Probably helping kids discover their destiny.
Like he was saying earlier, not trying to groom your kids to be just like you. They have to discover their own destiny. And my parents have both been very good about that, is not really pressuring me into ministry, or they just wanted me to be a moral person. It was never, you need to do this or you need to be involved with this. It's just kind of grooming you to be a moral person. But kids have to find their own destiny, because they're going to be a lot more attached to that vision if they create it for themselves rather than you beating them over the head with it. So I wrote down a few things. Says, don't cast your unfulfilled vision on your kids either. Don't live try to live vicariously through your kids, because that's just going to make them frustrated and not happy with you. So they have to find their own vision for their lives, whatever that is, and then you get behind them, encourage them, do whatever you can in your power to make them successful in their vision, because there's a lot of unfulfilled human beings walking around because they're not walking in their vision. And when your kids get to know that vision or whatever it is, encourage them and do whatever you can to help, because that's going to make them just a better human being.
I know that for me, sports was the way that I tried to teach Joel. There's two things that I think boys need to learn, girls too, but especially boys, is boys need to learn to be successful in this world, and they need to learn leadership and discipline. And I chose sports to teach him that. And I'll never forget, we were down in the park there, Crown Park in Camas. We had a family reunion there, and Joel was probably 3 years old. And there was a dad pitching to his son, these underhand, and this kid was like 6 or 7 years old. And the kid he had this little plastic bat, and he would miss everything. His dad was trying to teach him. And Joel never picked up a bat in his life, and he picked up the bat and says, "Oh, can I throw your son a few?" He said, "Yeah." So he throws him, bam, bam, bam. I thought, this kid's going to be a baseball player. And so I kind of pushed him towards that, trying to find a place for leadership and discipline, and that's why we went out in the garage and we threw all those we used to throw these white beans, little white beans before a game, and we'd throw those and different things. And I don't know, I've probably thrown 10,000 balls, maybe 20,000 balls over my lifetime, probably more than that. But he became a Division I baseball player, and you can say what you want, but he would not be a Division I baseball player without beans thrown in the driveway and all those kind of things. Now, I was kind of dreaming he was going to be a Major League Baseball player. That didn't happen. But when he got done, he put baseball down, and I don't even think he watched a baseball game since, I don't think. But one thing I know from that is he learned leadership and discipline from that. And those are the things I think you got out of that, don't you think?
Yeah, I was a kid that I went to high school with. He was one of the running backs, and we were over at his house for his mom's birthday a couple months back, whatever. And she was like, would you, with all the concussion data and stuff that came out, and with head trauma in football, and she says, would you, now knowing all this stuff, would you put your kids in football? I was like, yes. Like, no, there's no, I have no, Sarah might have to argue with me on that, but I think that sports, especially for me, taught me so much about life. And I mean, I use stuff that I learned in football on a day-to-day basis in the workforce, and it's not about being the best or even going and playing college, but it taught me discipline and leadership, and that really, you know, it really translates into your just being a human being. So,
good. Let me just wrap this up, and I was thinking about this morning. I don't know, maybe we could just pray for some people. I just want to end this service just praying for people this morning. But I was thinking about you single parents are amazing, especially you moms that raise boys. You guys are amazing. If the church can help out with, you know, I think there should be on every church, there should be the spirit of a father on every church, whether you're a 22-year-old pastor or a 150-year-old pastor like I am. There should be a spirit of a father on a church, and you keep your kids in church, and kids can get fathered in a church. They can get fathered in a church, and you can get fathered, and just by being around that. People don't really understand that, and then I was thinking about this. So many parents that feel like a failure because their kid's 17 years old and just doing stupid stuff. I cannot tell you how many times. I remember one time, I don't even know what Joel did. 400 things. But I was sitting in my office and I broke down crying. I was sitting in my desk chair and I broke down crying. And I just remember thinking, I'm an absolute failure at fatherhood. Here I am, a pastor of a church. I don't remember remember that day? And Theresa came up and hugged me, and I'm weeping. I'm just weeping. I'm just crying. I'm thinking, I'm an absolute failure at fatherhood. And then people start questioning you, and you start questioning your motives and all this kind of stuff. And I think that my message for you is you got to get over that and pray. You got to get over that, because to me, I think the devil fought Joel the hardest because he has an amazing destiny that God has planned for him. And so if your kids are fighting the things of God, they're generally fighting the destiny that God has planned for them. And the enemy says, I got to take this kid out. He's going to be a world changer. I got to take him out. And the enemy will go work overtime in your kids' behalf, trying to take your kids out. So I want to pray for you where you sit, because I don't want to, but just close your eyes for a minute if you would. How many of you feel that way right now? You felt that way. Yeah, see hands. Yeah, see those hands. Can I pray for you single moms? Lift your hands, single moms and single dads. Can I pray for you this morning? I just want to end the service this way, and then maybe you struggle. Let's just pray for wisdom for your kids. But I'm here to tell you, the Word works. And if you stick with the Word and you go for the Word of God will change your kids' life. It might not happen in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, but you stick with it and don't be selfish and stick to prayer. God will change your kids' life. He will. Let's everybody stand up, and come on, Joel, let's pray. Why don't you lead us? Why don't you lead us in prayer? Just pray. I'll close the service. You pray for those people, single moms and people that feel like a failure as a parent. I'm just telling you, get over that right now. Get over it and fight. Get in the fight. Get in the fight for your kids, because the devil wants your kids, and I'm just not going to let him have them as far as I'm concerned. Amen? Go ahead and lead them in that.
God, we just thank you for everyone here today, Lord. Thank you for that peace that surpasses all understanding, God, that they don't have to worry about anything that's going to be in the future, God, but just worry about today, God, that the peace is flooding their hearts, God, and they just can see that, they're just standing in faith for their kids, Lord. Pray for wisdom.
Yes.
For making those wise decisions, knowing what to do and what not to do, God. We just thank you for that peace and that wisdom, Lord, that you just, and God, we just thank you for perseverance and that we're keeping those thoughts and prayers, Lord, keeping the kids in the thoughts and prayers, Lord, that they'll see the fruit of their, the time spent that they spent on their knees praying, God, that they'll just see the fruit of that prayer, Lord, in Jesus' name.
Thank you, Father. We just thank you for this great Father's Day. And I pray for every young man here that's searching for a father. I pray that they get that fulfilled today, that the beginning, the seed principle, that begin to fulfill that today of realizing that they're going to be the best father they can be, and that the spirit of a father is on this house. And we just pray the supernatural blessing upon our church today. Thank you for a great day. In Jesus' name we pray. And church, if you agree with that, would you say bacon? God bless you guys. Love you guys.